What's up, y'all? Dark Show TCG here, back with another video. And today I got for you my episode 0 of my Riftbound on a budget series. Pretty much, I'm just gonna give you guys this quick deck profile of this sort of budget starter deck Jinx build that I took to locals the other night. My first locals, it was a 7-man locals, ended up taking second place. I played 2 matches, I got a bye. It was 3 rounds. I played 2 matches total, I got a bye in the second round. Ended up losing the first round to Victor, into going 1-2, and then end up winning the last round against Volibear, going 2-1. But without further ado, I'm going to give you guys my deck profile. I'm just going to go over the cards that I played. This is a little bit more upgraded than what I played the other night. I think this list is maybe a little bit stronger because it has more of cards that I didn't have the other night, but it should still have the basis of what I did play the other night. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to post a link or a picture of what I actually ended up playing last night. But without further ado, I'm just going to show you guys basically the starter deck plus version of Jinx. So we have Jinx, loose cannon. I don't know the names of the runes verbatim. I'm just going to say red, purple. And for those who doesn't know, Jinx, she basically she rewards you for emptying your hand in the game. So her ability says at the start of your beginning phase, draw 1 if you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, right? So in Riftbound, you have your awaken phase, your beginning phase, your channel phase, and then your draw phase. So awaken is basically your upkeep phase. You untap all your units or whatever. Beginning phase, I think it's just an arbitrary, a standby phase, but this is where you would draw the card if you have 1 or less in hand. And then channel phase, that's when you channel your runes from your rune deck. And then draw phase, that's when you actually draw for turn. So this leader essentially lets you go from 0 to 2 cards in hand or 1 to 3 cards in hand, basically going through your deck way faster because of your discard synergies, right? And so that's the champion, or the leader rather, or the legend. For the battlegrounds, I play Reaver's Row. When you defend here, you may move a friendly unit to base. I think this comes in the starter deck. I don't think I ended up replacing this. I don't think I end up playing this in the future, just because I think I don't know, maybe I'm not using it correctly, but as an aggro deck, having your opponents being able to move their units back feels bad, but at the same time, being able to defend my units and keep my pressure up may feel good as well. I'll keep playing it for now. Zon Warrens, this also comes in the starter deck base. This helps Jinx filter her hand, get some of the cards you don't need immediately out, and then activate some of your discard synergies. Arena's Greatest, this is one of the cards that I ended up putting in, taking out the another one of the lands that come in with the starter deck. So at the start of each player's first beginning phase, that player gains 1 point. So this accelerates the game a little bit. It gives both players an additional conquer point at the beginning of the game. It lets me close out games faster and really rush down the opponent. As an aggro deck, that's something I really want to do, right? So that's it for the battlefields. I'm gonna go into the rune count. It's 12 runes in the deck. You start off with 6 chaos, and then what is this? 6 fury, 6 purple runes, 6 red runes. Because of the build I'm running, I ended up just going 4 and 8. A lot of the cards in my deck use the red fury runes more than they do the chaos runes. But I do have 1 or 2 cards that do use the chaos runes, so they're still in here. I don't plan on taking them out anytime in the future. It's because this Jinx is here, just can't focus. Yeah, so it's a 4-4-8 split. Next, I'm gonna go into my chosen champion and my other champions in the deck. My chosen champion is this Jinx Demolitionist. This is the Battle Bunny Jinx skin. I ended up buying this off of a friend, or not off of a friend. I ended up buying this off of someone who goes to locals. But the starter deck does come with 1 original copy of it, so this is just an alt art. Basically, this card it costs 3 with a power of 1, and it has 4 might. You can accelerate it, so you can pay an additional rune as well as recycling 1 to have it enter the field ready. It also has assault 2, essentially making it a 6 might attacker when it comes in. But what I really like this card for is that it helps you enable your leader ability, because when you just play the card, you discard 2 cards. So having this unit in here can really just help turn your leader ability on, so you can start going through your deck and spamming your spells and playing your units, and really getting out on the board and going wide and doing everything you want to do as Jinx. Last night I ended up only playing one of her, and I played like a Misfortune champion as well. But moving forward, I think I want to go on like a second Jinx Demolitionist, because at the start of your game you get to have the chosen champion like available to you at all times, and you just choose when to play it. But I think like having a second one in the deck will allow me to like play this one out early-ish, and then like find this one later, and then like get extra discards, because today I felt that like I had too many cards in hand. A lot of times I didn't really get to make use of my leader ability throughout the entirety of the game, and I think that can kind of suck. So I'm going to be testing 2 Jinx Demolitionists in the future, and that's where I'm at. Next card I have as my champion is Vi, Destructive. I have 2 of her. You do get 1 in the starter deck. I ended up pulling another one from the packs that I pulled last night, so I put her in immediately. Basically, she has ganking and then recycle 1 from the trash. Give me +1 might this turn. So she's 2 cost, 1 power, 3 might unit. And the thing I didn't know about this effect is that you can just do this as many times for as many cards in your trash as you want, right? So if you have 13 cards in trash, you can recycle all 13, and then might is a 16k, or not 16k, is a 16 might unit, which is kind of insane. She's sort of like the finisher of the deck, and then there's another card in this deck that you can do some like insane combos with. I was able to pull it off once during my matches yesterday. It did not end up like mattering or winning me the game, but it just felt super cool to do. However, just like the pressure that this card can commit / put out is insane. I think that Vi is like a really insane card. That's why I'm running 2, being able to see her more. I don't know if I'll go up to 3, but I haven't tested this list yet, but this is just like in theory right now, based off of like how the deck felt last night. So yeah, another note about like this ability is that like I think each instance you activate this, your opponent can respond. So like you can't just like put all 13, all however many cards away at once. You have to do it like 1 at a time, theoretically, but like your opponent can respond like in between each activation, I think, with like a reaction. So just be wary of that. So outside of the chosen champions, or the chosen champion and champions, now we just have like the main deck. I'm running 3 of these Brazen Buccaneers. I think this comes in the starter deck base. Pretty sure, yeah, it comes in the starter deck base. I kept these in. The philosophy of the deck is to play a bunch of like discounted / low costed units. When you play him, I discard a card to reduce his cost by 2, essentially making him a 4/5 that helps remove cards from my hand so that I can turn on leader ability. Really good card, helps activate some of our discard synergies in the deck, gets the hand low. Next up is Raging Soul. This comes in the starter deck as well. I'm running it at 3. Yeah, this comes in the starter deck as well. It's a 4 costed 4 might unit. If you've discarded a card this turn, it has assault and ganking. So assault basically gives it +1 might when attacking, and then ganking allows you to move it between battlefields. This comes in the starter deck. I kept it in. I really just took out a lot of like the super high costed units, and I'm playing some of like the mid and the lower costed like units with synergy. I really like Raging Soul, good mid-range body in my games. The +1 assault mattered. The ganking I never really got to use, but just like having that option feels good. Just make sure you sequence your plays properly when you have this guy, that like you play him a turn prior, and then the next turn you discard a card to like make him live, so that like he's relevant with the assault. Now we're going into like the new inclusions. This card is not included in the base starter deck, the Noxian Hopeful. I think he is just a common that you can get out of a bunch of friends bulk. So I think this is like a red staple, Fury staple. If you guys can find them, I'll definitely recommend picking up a playset. So the Noxious Hopeful is a 4 costed 4 might unit. He has the Legion effect. He costs 2 less. So if you've played another card this turn, it'll cost 2. We like our 2 costed units here. Usually I like taking first with this deck, playing a 2-drop on 2. Like seeing him and then like two drops is like I think my ideal curve in a lot of instances. So I play a 2-drop on 2, then on 4 I play another 2-drop and then him, and then now I have like 8 might worth of stats like on the board on turn 2, which is really good for like an aggressive strategy. And then like also being able to play multiple cards to help lower your hand size feels really good. So this is one of the first upgrades in the deck. Is this Noxus Hopeful? Strongly recommend getting this card in your deck. After that, Cemetery Assistant. There's 2 of them that comes in the starter deck. I never really got to use him. This is like the Chaos Rune guy. So 3 cost, 3 might with 1 power cost. You need to recycle a Chaos Rune to play him. But he says when you play him, return a unit from trash to the hand. This can just help you recur resources. So like if your champion Jinx gets outed, or your Vi, or you play like a Vi early and you want to get it back for later, or what have you, or like you discard a unit that like you can discard a unit early and then play this to get it back later. This never really came up for me. I just have it in here as like a tech choice because I have nothing else like nothing really else to play, and it possibly like can come up in the future. So until I get some more upgrades, I'm just gonna keep this puppy in here, and hopefully he'll come up later. Next we have 2 Void Seeker. This comes in the starter deck. I think it's a pretty good card. 3 costed spell. The focus, yeah. 3 costed spell. Deal 4 damage to a unit at a battlefield. Draw 1. It's also action, so it's spell speed 2, meaning you can play it during your turn as well as during showdowns. So just dealing 4 damage, and then the cycle is pretty good. I think it came up. It came up in one of my games against Volibear. So what I do is like before I initiate a showdown or I challenge a contested battlefield, I would Void Seeker one of their units, send in one of my chump little 2-cost units to clean up that guy. So if they have like a 5 might dragon, I'll Void Seeker the dragon, draw a card, move in one of my 2-costed units, clean up that dragon, and then I'll be able to like move in one of my like assault units to win the point with the other dragon. One thing, make sure you guys are cognizant of how damage works in this game. There's a cleanup phase after like combat. So if like for some reason you don't kill a unit and you like Void Seeker during combat, they will heal all of that damage. So it's better to do this like during like an open game state, or like a closed game state. I don't know, I'm using the term wrong. It's better to do this before you like do combat, to put that damage on a unit, because damage only cleans up after combat. So you want to make sure you get this in before you fight. Yeah, this card came up. I like it. I don't think I'll be removing it anytime soon, but you never know. And yeah, this does come in a starter deck. I think I already mentioned that. Flame Chompers, one of like your bigger discard pieces. Some really good discard synergy in the deck. It is a 3 might, 3 costed unit. When you discard me, you may recycle 1 Fury Rune to play me. So you're discarding this like off of your leader ability. Not your leader ability. You're discarding this like off of your Jinx, off of some of like your other discard synergies, your Reaver, not your Reaver's Roll, your Zon Waters or something like that. This is just like your main discard target. It helps you swarm the board, like your Traveling Merchants and your other stuff. Really good card. And then sometimes you don't even have to like discard it. You can just play it for 3. I know spending like playing full stuff for full value doesn't really feel good, but sometimes it's better to like not recycle the rune, you know, just so that you can have more runes to play with next turn. Really like, yeah. This comes in a starter deck, so keep this in. Don't cut this. You're playing Jinx, you're playing Flame Chompers. Next is Traveling Merchant. This does come in a starter deck as well. It is 2 mights, 2 costed. When I move, discard 1, then draw 1. Helps you hand filter, look for more possible plays, getting cards out of your hand once again. 2 costed unit. We love our 2 costed units here. We want to go wide, we want to go fast. Nothing more I can say about this card. This comes in a starter deck, so keep this guy in. I kept this guy in. Next up is the Chemtech Enforcer. 2 costed, 2 might unit. He has assault 2, so when he's attacking he becomes 4 might, and then when you play him, discard 1. So this is like the main Flame Chompers enabler. Seeing this on 2 can be kind of crazy, because you can just like have like 5 might worth of stats, essentially like 7 might, because he'll gain assault when he goes on like the turn after. Really crazy tempo play. I never actually got the combo out. Never got the combo out in game, but I see it can go well, and then still being able to discard a card just to help empty your hand so that you can turn on your leader ability feels good in my eyes. Assault, this is just a really good unit. We love our 2-drops in this deck. He comes in the starter deck, so I kept him in. After that, Legion Rearguard. This is another upgrade outside of the starter deck. 2 might, 2 power, 2 cost. Accelerate. So you tap a rune and then you recycle a rune as well to have them enter ready. So this essentially can cost like 3. This is like a 3 and like a power to have them come in ready, so that you can just like rush down a point. Sometimes in the late game, if there's like an open battlefield and you're at like 7 or 6 points and you already control a point, this can just like help close out a game by capturing the battlefield. There's also, you can just play it as a 2/2. Once again, because of the Noxian Hopeful in the deck as well, we love our 2-costed units going first and being able to swarm the board. So that's like one of the upgrade. Another common card. I recommend picking these guys up. I think is another like red staple, especially for like your aggressive deck. Next, we have the MVP of the night, Falling Star. I ended up only having 2 last night. Yeah, I ended up only having 2 copies in my deck last night, but I was able to pick up the 3rd from a friend. I ended up paying like $12 a piece for these. All right, pulled 1 and bought 2 for like $12 a piece, so it is a little expensive. I'm not gonna lie, that's like my budget. I pretty much blew my budget, you know, picking these up, but I felt like this card is like super necessary in red right now. It is 2 power, 2 cost, meaning you have to like pay 2 runes and then recycle 2 runes for it. And then it says do this twice, deal 3 damage to a unit. You can choose 2 different units, so you can just deal 6 damage or deal 3 damage to 2 different units. This is like the slowest spell speed, so you can only do this on your turn, but it's such an insane card. You're dealing 6 damage for 2. This like won me games, put me super far ahead of my opponent in games. It's kind of like Void Seeker, where like you deal damage to something and then you clean it up with like a small guide to help set up for like another powerful push, or you just remove problematic units that are hard to deal with. I think 6 might is a very good threshold, or like dealing 6 is a very like good threshold. Removal is really strong in this game. If you guys can pick this card up and you know not like make sure you can still have money to eat for the rest of the week, I recommend picking this card up. Really like the MVP of last night. After that, we have 1 copy of Scrap Heap. I was playing all 3 of them. All 3 of them do come in the starter deck, but I noticed like it helps you filter. So like when this card is played, discarded, or killed, you draw 1. It's a gear, so like you can just like tap 2 and play it, but it just draws and then it just sits on your field for the rest of the game. I use it as like a discard synergy. Anytime I like discarded a card, I see this, I'll just like discard it so that I draw. It has its upside by being able to replace itself, but at the same time, because it replaces yourself, you're staying hand neutral, so you really don't get your leader ability online. So it cycles, but it also kind of gets worse for you because you aren't drawing more in the long term. So anytime I found space to like put in other cards, this was like the first card to go. So if I find more space to put in other cards, this would be like the next card to go. Just because I really want to lean into emptying my hand in this deck, just so that I can draw more, find more answers and what have you. So only 1 of, but there are 3 in the starter deck. So I keep them in. I kept them in while I can, but this is usually like the first card I've cut. Not the first card I've cut, because I'll tell you the first cards I cut later, but this is one of the cards I cut. Next up, we have the Ride the Winds. So I only had 2 in my deck last night and 1 Vi, and I didn't really get to do the combo a lot. However, I did do the combo against or like just having the option to do it, like keeping this and Vi in hand like later, is really insane. So like for those who don't know, so it's 2 costed and then 1 chaos rune. This is why we have like 4 chaos runes, because there are only like 4 cards in our deck that use them. So like we don't really need a lot of them. Like we just want a lot of Fury runes for our falling stars. Anyway, what this does, it's an action, so it's like spell speed 2. But on my turn in showdowns, I get to move a friendly unit and ready it. So the combo with Ride the Wind and Vi, for those who don't know, I think they call it like Vi the Wind or something like that. I don't know. So pretty much is you would play out your Vi, and then she comes, you know, characters, they come in exhausted, right? So you would play out your Vi, she comes in exhausted. You would Ride the Wind to move her to a, or you would play out your Vi, recycle a bunch of cards from trash so that she's really big. Then you would Ride the Wind to move her to a battlefield, and then she would also be ready at the same time, right? So meaning she can move again. And because she has ganking, she can just go from one battlefield to another, right? So you play out your Vi, you recycle a bunch of cards. She's at like 15 might. You Ride the Wind, put her on the battlefield. You kill whatever's at the battlefield if your opponent, you know, doesn't have any combat tricks. And then you gank, and then you capture another battlefield, killing whatever's there if they don't have any combat tricks. And you just got 2 points, right? So this card, these 2 cards can single-handedly like close out a game. If you're at like 6 points, you need to capture 2. This is like really an insane combo, which is why I'm like maxing out at 3 copies of Ride the Wind and then 2 copies of Vi. Really hoping that like I can just like see the combo a little bit more consistently, and you know, just have like those big swing turns. And even then, if I don't do it to end the game, I think it's like a really good like tempo push too, right? Which is why I like playing multiple copies. I don't think you'll be able to do it twice a game, but like, you know, what if you can do it twice a game? So that's why I have them. This card's like $4 a copy. It's an uncommon, so I was able to pick this up by just like trading some stuff. I had like some Sprite Mothers, which are like $3 a copy, and we just traded some cards, so I didn't end up paying for these. And I also have like really good friends at my local, so like be nice to the people at your locals. Offer them deals. Don't charge them like full price or whatever for stuff at locals. Like don't be that guy who's having you pay full price for stuff at locals. Like a friend told me, one hand washes another, pretty much. Just take care of your people and they'll take care of you, is what I'm saying. Like learn how to haggle and just be nice to each other, you know. And if someone is charging you full price every time you meet, then yeah, charge them full price back, right? Just don't get taken advantage of too. Anyway, a gust I think this is like 3 of in the deck that comes with the starter deck. It's a combat trick. It's a little bit of removal as well. This is spell speed 3 reaction. Return a unit at a battlefield with 3 or less might to the owner's hand. This can help me preserve some of my units, but it can also stop my opponent from going from like lethal pushes. I remember this. I used this against my Volibear opponent. Returned one of their units back to hand, just so that they wouldn't be able to cap a point that I was holding, and then next turn I just gamed because I held 2 points and I was at 6 points. So there's 3 of them that come in the deck. This is like, you don't be so, I wasn't so eager to remove it. I like having it in here. In the future I might cut it. I'll let you guys know what I end up cutting for like the better cards, and I'll talk about upgrades a little later, what I want to upgrade this deck with. But Gust felt good. Just having some spot removal feels pretty good. Spell speed 3 stuff feels pretty good. I like it. Good. Next we have 2 of Cleave. This is just an aggressive card. It's another upgrade. This does not come in a starter deck. I was able to pull a bunch of these from like some bulk and some packs that I had. It's action, spell speed 2, cost 1. Give a unit assault +3 this turn. So +3 might while it's an attacker. Really good card. So like you can go to a point, activate the cleave, and then you know, you have just like +3 might for attacking. Helps swing into some taller bodies. Really aggressive card. The Jinx deck is aggressive, and it's pretty cheaply costed as well. But remember, assault only gives units might when they're attacking, so you can't use this as like a defensive combat trick. And then the last card is Stacked Deck. Was able to, I think, trade for this as well. This is like another $4 or $5 uncommon. Action, spell speed 2. Look at the top 3 cards of your main deck. Put 1 into your hand, recycle the rest. Basically, just check the deck for a card, and you don't have to reveal that card to your opponent. It's just a consistency tool. I think in the long term, once like the full discard synergies of this deck get online, I may not be running this just because like I'll just be drawing and I wouldn't really need it. But this did grab me a few pieces to help even out my curve throughout the day. So I don't know if I'll fully cut it. This is like a purple staple as well. If you guys are playing purple in the future, I'll get these if you can. And I think that's it. Yeah, no, that's it for like the main deck. I'll show you guys now the cards that I ended up cutting from the starter deck. So my philosophy, my idea while building this deck was just to cut out a bunch of like this top end and like mid-range units and just play a bunch of stuff that was low to the ground. Because when I was talking with some guys on my locals about the Jinx starter deck for like the starter deck event, they said Jinx was the worst one just because her cards costed so much. And I'm like, that makes sense, especially in a deck in which you want to like empty your hand as possible. You don't want a bunch of like late game cards that come online too late in the game, right? So this Sunderer, Raza the Sunderer, costs 1 less for each card in your trash, right? This is a value card. You need like 10 cards in trash to fill this. But you're not putting a bunch of cards in trash right away. So I felt as if this comes on way too late, right? Magma Worm, right? Like this comes online like earliest like your turn 4. Other units enter ready, yeah, that's cool, but it costs 8, and once again, it's like getting this online. Undercover Agent, this comes in the starter deck. We cut this as well. Death Rattle, Death Kneel, discard 2, draw 2. It costs 5, comes online turn 3. It does help with the discard synergy, but it's like too highly costed, too expensive, and it's like vanilla stats, right? And then it also doesn't like empty the hand. It just like cycles the hand, which like you don't really want to see. Blazing Scorcher costs 5. You can accelerate it, make it cost 6 to get it in there, but I'd rather just run like the smaller guys. Fading Memories, this is like pretty good removal. This kills any unit. This gives a unit at a battlefield or a gear temporary, which basically means that like it dies at the start of the opponent's turn. I think I was too hasty in cutting this card, but I'd rather just be running Falling Stars in this slot. If you don't have Falling Stars, then you just run this instead. It's still pretty decent removal. Unfortunately, it's like really slow. It doesn't get anything out the way immediately. It forces the deck to play a little bit slower than I like, so that's why I cut it in favor of Falling Stars. Cemetery Attendant, 2 of these to come in the starter deck. I only run 1. Once again, I'm looking to cut it. Fight or Flight, this is actually a hidden card. It's kind of like Gust or like Rebuke, but you can just like hide it at a battlefield you control. I think I was too hasty in cutting this card. I think if you can afford to keep this card in, probably keep it in. Just because like it's a removal. Aggro decks that can run removal have historically been good. So if you can keep it in, but if you don't need to, then you know, cut it. Scrap Heap, like I was saying earlier, I don't like going hand neutral. I like to empty my hand. This makes you go hand neutral. It was at 3. I cut as many as I could. Get Excited, I just cut this for like Falling Stars and Gust and Ride the Wind. Discard 1, deal its energy cost as damage to a unit at a battlefield. Once again, if you don't have Falling Stars and stuff like that, you can still run this card. I think this is actually really good because like you can discard like a Flame Chompers or one of your bigger cards and stuff like that. So if you're running like some of those 5 costed units, you know, you can deal 5 to a guy by discarding it. So that there's like the synergy there, right? Other than that, I cut it immediately as soon as I found upgrades because that it requires you to run tall cards to do more damage, and I didn't really like that. Gust, so it comes with 3 in the starter deck. I cut 1 just so that I can be able to fit other stuff in. And then the last cards are like the 2 runes that I cut to go down from 6 to 4, and then the Targon's Peak, which comes in the starter deck. When you conquer here, ready 2 runes at the end of this turn. I don't have that many combat tricks to need the untapped runes, so that's why like this was like the first to go in favor of the Arena's Greatest to give my guys +1 points. So this is where I'm at with the deck currently. I really liked what I ended up running. I think that Victor game I could have won actually. It was like literally my first locals ever, my first game in my locals ever, and I saw like misplays that I made that like I could have, you know, played better pretty much. Like if I used my Falling Star differently and sequenced my turn a little better, I think I would have had a better shot in that game, right? In terms of upgrades, cards that I want in this deck, if you notice, I don't have my signature spell, my Super Mega Death Rocket in here. I wanted to look at getting some Super Mega Death Rockets, but they're like $15 a copy. So hopefully, I have friends who have the cards, so hopefully I can just like trade and pull product and, you know, play a TCG, a trading card game, and get those Super Mega Death Rockets, try those out, see how they feel. I also want to look at the Darius Trefarian card. He's like another rare that's like 15 bucks, so it's like another $60 for 2 play sets of some cards. But I think at a locals level, this felt pretty solid. Once again, like the most expensive cards in here were like Ride the Wind, Stacked Deck, and Falling Star. Everything else is pretty cheap. These are commons and uncommons and a bunch of stuff that comes in the starter deck. So I would say like the extra cards that like didn't come in the starter deck is like the extra Demolitionist Jinx, but this is like 50 cents, right? So because it comes in the starter deck, the extra Vi, that's like $2. The Stacked Deck, the Cleave, the Ride the Wind, Falling Stars, Legion Rearguard. What else? The Noxus Hopeful. Yeah. So these are the cards that I added. I put in is the extra Demolitionist Jinx, the Noxus Hopefuls, Legion Rearguard, Falling Stars, Ride the Wind, Cleave, Stack Deck, and an additional Vi. Right? These are cards that do not come in the starter deck that I upgraded the starter deck with. Yeah, these are cards that I do not come in the starter deck that I upgraded the starter deck with. And then these are cards that come in the starter deck that you can just play right away, which I think are like worth including, and that help like the main focus of your game. Anyway, really long video, but I think it's really helpful to people because once again, this game is like super expensive right now. I hope that it won't be like this in the coming months because I really like the game. I had a lot of fun at my Nexus night. Playing this game felt really good. So yeah, here's to the future of Riftbound, and be on the lookout, guys, for more of these updates. I'm gonna see if I can push this starter deck Jinx to her limits. Unfortunately, because she shares one color with Kai'Sa, red. You're going to be paying that Kai'Sa tax, that red premium tax. So, I don't know. We'll see, guys. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of the deck profile. If there is any spicy cards that you guys have in your Jinx list that you want to be including, that you want to play, that I didn't. But that's going to be it for me, y'all. Peace.